you guys have played or coached up to your standards this season?
No. Yeah, no, I think obviously, our standards and our expectation is to win every game we play. So we have not done that for a number of reasons. I mean, I think you can list them all out, but at the end of the day, we have not played up to the standard that we have. Because our standard is to go out and put ourselves in the best position to win every single game, and we haven't done that. So. We will not be satisfied until we're in that situation. But yeah, we have very, very high standards and expectations of who and what we want to be.
Bob Flowers, Harrisburg Patriot News.
Hello, James. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, James. Peter, I wanted to ask you about Miles Sanders and the run game. Your thoughts on that the last couple of weeks, and maybe the importance of getting him and then more established defense front.
Yeah, definitely. Last week, obviously, that was a big storyline, and the game is up front. Especially their D line and linebackers against our O line and tight ends, and we did not play well enough there. We did not put our players in the best position enough. So we got to get our running game established. Miles has shown that he can be a big play back in this conference, and that he can carry the load and get you the tough yards as well as the big plays. So it's going to be very important that we find a way to establish the run game again, so there's not so much on the shoulders of Tracy McSorley.
Your pass game operation, what do you think would be one thing that's the biggest issue, or what you're most disappointed in? And at this point in the season, how can you fix that or get that better?
Well, I think one of the issues that we've been battling all year long is drops. We've had too many drops. I think that's obviously been stated a number of times in here. People asking me that question. Last week we had protection issues. So a combination of those two things. So we got to be more consistent in the throws we make. We got to be more consistent in catching the ball. When we have an opportunity to make a play, we got to make a play. And then we got to be able to give, our quarterback as much time as he needs to go through his progression and his reads. So it's a little bit of all of it, and that's how we're going to have to approach it. I don't expect us to just get dramatically better in one area. We just got to get a little bit better in each area and do that weekly.
Hey James, how you doing? I'm doing great. Hey, going back to Mike's question about red shirts, you've been able to bank a lot of games for your true freshmen. Do you plan on using some of these kids in the final 3 games, and can you address specifically Justin Shorter?
Yeah, that was our plan, is to make sure that we had the bowl game available for guys, and then also to try to be strategic as the season goes. It's hard to say you're going to play guys in these 2 games because of injuries. So we started out trying to get some guys experience when we could early in the season. And then we wanted to save some games, for injuries or for just late in the season, just in general. So that's kind of where we're at right now. We'd like to try to maximize, those games out as much as we possibly can, with those players, and specifically Justin. Now, if a guy's not ready to play, we're not just going to play him just to play. It's those guys that are right on the bubble. I think Justin's a really good example of that. So yeah, I can see those guys with the number of games that we have left. I think you're going to end up seeing some of these guys over the next few games.
You mean Justin's on the bubble of being ready to play?
Correct. Yeah. He's really done some nice things. Obviously, he had an injury early on that kind of slowed him down. I had a really good discussion with him. The other day, he came in and wanted to meet with me kind of about some things, and he's actually. Looking at his college experience, very similar to his high school experience, where, he started out, maybe a little bit slow and, worked himself into being one of the best receivers in the country, if not the best receiver in the country. And I think you're going to see a similar development with him here, just because of his approach and his attitude. His mom and dad have been awesome. He's been great. And I think a lot of times we've got these high-profile recruits like this. They don't always handle this stuff well. Him and his family have been unbelievable. No different than the recruiting process. Number 1 receiver in the country, he commits. never goes on another visit, never, talks to anybody else. He shuts it down and it's over, no drama, none of it. So he's just, they've been unbelievable really since day one. How you doing?
Good. How are you doing? Good. If you have a player that has possibly lost confidence, is there a way you can maybe manufacture success or positions where they can begin to succeed that could boost that confidence? Or how do you go about rebuilding that in a player who may not be playing up to what they are capable of because of that?
Yeah, I think it's conversations. I think it's things you talk about, things you say. I think how you interact and how you talk to players is really important, especially at times like that. So I think that's really important. I think being able to use the sports psychologist is an important aspect of it as well. And then I think some of the things you talked about, putting our guys in advantageous positions in practice, kind of how we talked about managing, Jake Pinniger early on, putting him out there for field goals that we think he had the best chance to make, and either going for it on fourth down or punting in the other situations. So it's part of that as well. I think it's a combination of all those things. And then I think, the biggest way to build confidence is to be able to have repeated success. And that doesn't necessarily always have to be in games. That's in practice. That's through preparation. I think, people are more confident the more prepared they are. So it's a combination of all those things. I think one of the things that I talked about a little bit last week was, and I see a little bit with us, is, everybody else is waiting for someone to make the play, and then we're going to rally behind that person. And what I talked about is every single one of them was brought into this program in the room to make that play, not to wait for somebody else to do it. So I think that's something that's really, really important, is those guys are understanding that they were brought here to make the plays, they're capable of making the plays, and they need to go do them. But I think right now we're kind of waiting for someone else to make the play, and when that happens, everybody gets excited and rallies behind them. Where I think our approach needs to be, you're going to make the play, and when the opportunity presents itself, you're going to take advantage of it.
James, you guys haven't really been in this situation for 30-some games where you're coming off at least a lopsided final score. Is the role of the coaches and everybody magnified in a regrouping mode? And also, I was wondering about Miles' state of mind and the exchanges there, because there's been some really untimely fumbles.
Yeah, that was a big one.
Yeah.
That was a big one. That one, wasn't Miles. It was indecision in the hole, and you watch it. The ball's on his hip. Not in the pocket when we let it go. So there's no doubt about it. There's been a couple of those that we got to get cleaned up. But yeah, I would make the argument. There's no doubt about it that Saturday was a tough one for all of us to swallow. But I'd also make the argument we're one of the few programs in the country up to that point that hadn't had a lopsided loss. We've had some tough losses, in tight games. But we've been one of the more competitive programs, over that stretch in the country. So, we got work to do. There's no doubt about it. And there's nobody in the building right now, that is comfortable with where we're at. That's coaches, that's players, that's everybody. And we got an opportunity to get a win against a really good program, a storied, historic program in this conference. Has had a lot of success. Like us here recently, and we're gonna have to play well. We're gonna need all the fans' support. Mother Nature's not being as cooperative with some of the parking being shut down, but we're gonna need the fans. We're gonna need the fans there supporting us, supporting our players, supporting Penn State because we got a real challenge. And most importantly, we're gonna find a way to get a W against a great program on Saturday.
Hey James, your team, your defense held Michigan to 14 points through basically 3/4 of the game.
Really 4 quarters.
Is that, and that's part of the way Michigan seems to play, kind of like the way Wisconsin plays, where it's kind of a slow burn offensively for them, so that by the end of the game, it looks very different than what it might have at the second quarter. How do you evaluate how your defense did through that, and how might you feel about that going into a game versus a team that has a similar style
I
offense?
think that's a great question. I think that's very fair. I think, when you see the final score, it would probably tell you something different if you hadn't watched the game or if you hadn't studied the game. Our defense, really did some nice things. There was obviously some times that, you'd love to get off the field. There's some times when we had them backed up, coming out, that you'd like to see, we can get off the field, be able to swing the field position and things like that. But overall, your point is a great one. I think that's one of the things I led the press conference with is, with very little time left in the third quarter, it was 14-0. And it really should have been 7-all. Really should have been 7-all with the blocked field goal return for a touchdown. Should have been 7-all. So yeah, I think we had some opportunities to make it a very, very competitive game against a really good football team on the road, and we didn't do that. I think Brent Pry's response and the defensive staff's response always going to be, well, we didn't do enough, and I get that, but I think there's also some really good things that were in there too.